In our last recording, we talked about how you could learn anything if you were open to it from the universe or from everything on earth. This chapter 4, in the Gathering of the Chosen, tells you how you can do this. And so we go to chapter 4, the universe teaches. Please be sure to follow us. If you're listening to us on YouTube, hit the bell and subscribe and share the link with as many people as possible. If you're listening to us on Spreaker, share the link and perhaps check out our website and get a copy of our book, The Gathering of the Chosen. You can also find it at lulu.com, written by Om Prakash Gilmore. And so here we go with chapter 4. When you begin to understand the universe, you begin to understand yourself, because you aren't separate from the universe. You are the eyes and the ears of the universe, collecting knowledge and wisdom and sending it back into the all and all as information and the knowledge that comes from the universe experiencing itself. Every tree, flower, plant, animal, individual, molecule, and atom is alive and experiencing the state of isness in its being. The universe is experiencing itself through an infinite number of beings. If we can tap into that knowledge, wisdom, and intelligence, we can experience the infinite wisdom ourselves. Many of us are taught to be afraid of that. We may even be taught over and over that we cannot do it. We are taught that people who have had mystical experiences, the same experiences we are having now, and who feel connected with the universe and the knowledge I am talking about, are not valid people to share their experiences and get feedback about them. We have to find a gatekeeper steeped in formal education with degrees or licenses to read books about experiences. Who read books about experiences but may not even have ever had them. When they interpret what is happening to us and tell us what we are experiencing, we can listen because they are validated by the system. Otherwise, we are taught to be suspect of our own experiences to the point where we no longer have them. It's as if this divine spark within us, the Atman, is sending out messages that are being ignored so long that it just stops wasting its time and leaves our learning up to experiences in life that will force us to learn. These experiences are often tragedies, terminal illnesses, the death of loved ones, loss of life and limb, whatever tragedy that falls upon us and forces us to stop running and filling our emptiness with activities, so we will be forced to be still and see the truth, not only the truth about life, but also the truth about ourselves and who and what we are, including truths we hold to be self-evident that really aren't true at all. We are forced to see the lies that we cling to keep ourselves comfortable. We come face to face with our worst fears. If we are successful, we realize that they have no power over us. We are forced to take the journey into the underworld on the universe's terms instead of our own, because our karma leads us to keep refusing to journey on our own. Such a journey is a liberating journey, and it causes liberation eventually, but often with a heavy price. Thus comes the label wounded healer. To the unhealed, the underworld, and even the one in which we usually live, is a place of fear and danger. There is constantly someone or something lurking around the corner waiting to jump out and devour us. It can be demons or low vibration entities. It can be negative thought patterns or political or economic opponents. There are many things that keep us in a state of fear or a state of anger, which constitutes the fight or flight response we constantly exist in. The burst of energy that we receive from fear or anger keeps us going. It blows away the hurt, the fear, and the depression and makes the world a little more predictable. Most of all, it energizes us when we are becoming depleted from the extra stress we must take on in a society that tells us we are not good enough and demands that we spend most of our time and our lives working to create goods or to support a society that buys and sells goods. We can become addicted to this extra energy and be habitually hungry. We can be conditioned so that we need energy from outside forces like shock jocks and far right media who fill us with hate and anger toward the world. We can get so used to being triggered in that way that our primary reaction when confronted with the inconsistencies of life is to explode with irrational anger. Being aroused with anger is like a fix for a person who is leading a life of quiet desperation. It leads, however, to a life of loud desperation. That is why it is necessary to learn to cultivate a peaceful attitude, or even better, one aligned with the Tao, or the Mother of Creation. When one's behavior is aligned with the Tao, one is living in the zone. One speaks when one needs to. One is quiet when one needs to be. One shouts or gets angry when necessary, but lets go of the shouting and the anger when they are no longer needed. One doesn't cling to any type of emotion, including anger. One doesn't fight against them or rely on them. One is free. One lives as an extension of the mind of the universe. In the Taoist tradition, one is constantly looking at the world and the workings of things around oneself and learning to free oneself from delusion. One actually learns to step back and observe what is happening without judgment, even while being engaged in the midst of an activity. As a result, one becomes aware of one's own mind and thoughts and clearly understands one's relationship with the world. One expands and realizes that he or she is observer as well as the observed. This observer role can be fearful for some. They think that they are the ego or the self created in the world to learn to interact with and socialize with others. To the ego, this expansion can seem like death. Truth is, however, that one can work with the ego and in time it will learn that it is not death, it is birth. The healthy ego is an extension of the divine self existing in a world of time, space, and limitations. The divine self is wrapped in the ego, which is made up of all kinds of thoughts, ideas, emotions, and fantasies, like a caterpillar wrapped in a cocoon. Something tells the caterpillar when it is time to break out of the cocoon. If it doesn't, it just becomes a mess and dies. It also has to struggle to break out of the cocoon by itself. When it breaks out, it is free. When this part of us breaks out of the ego returns to its original form, which is our wings on this earth. If someone else breaks it out, the wings are deformed and it is unable to fly and live its life as the butterfly. We go to counselors, psychologists, religious professors, and great teachers. Sometimes friends and relatives try to help us. Sometimes they go too far and pull us out of the cocoon. When that happens, we have false ideas about the way of the world, and we really cannot fly. We receive the ego as a flawed entity. It takes more of an effort then to become healthy, happy, and live transcendent lives. Our wings have become damaged. We can live lives like a butterfly with no wings, basking in the idea of others. But that living is an empty and unnatural way. An example of pulling us out is psychotropic drugs. Some people are given drugs to pull them out of depression or to save them from negative psychological experiences and are told they will have to take them for the rest of their lives. This stunts their feelings and their lives because the root causes or the real issues aren't dealt with. It's just covered over. This is like a butterfly with deformed wings. The good teacher or psychologist works at the root and gives the person the power to break their way out of the cocoon. They don't pull the person out. If the person is in danger, they may use the drugs temporarily, but the plan is not to use them forever. The thing that allows the person to break out is the transmission of personal power, the power within through counseling or some other methodology. Personal power comes from the realization of who one is and by reigniting the sacred fire, the divine spark that exists at the center of every living being. As Earth, Wind, and Fire says, step into the light, let the spark ignite. Step into the light tonight. What is the light they are talking about? The light of human awareness, the light of love, the light of the One, who is the One, the existence in which we move and live and have our being. When we brush aside the curtain of thoughts, ideas, and negative images of the self, we step into the Holy of Holies. The Holy of Holies is the core of ourselves. Think about this for a moment. If you accept it, you're free right now. If not, the journey will continue as you continue to struggle with perceiving the light as darkness because of lack of vision and understanding. The darkness we have been socialized into keeps us prisoner. Knowing the truth, however, leads to freedom and the removal of scales from the eyes. Where there was once darkness, then there's only light. And that's the end of the reading. We'll be going into chapter 5, the next reading. Thanks for being with us, and we look forward to being with you again very, very soon. Check below. Go to our website, join our Patreon, or you can make a donation and get a book. This book in e-form free. Namaste.